Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from him through well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. Now I'm entitled this one, Digital Reset is right around the corner. And what is the digital reset? The digital reset, also known as the Great Reset, that is ultimately going to be implemented by these elite banking families who are at the control of everything, but they're using these puppet leaders from Donald Trump, these different technocrats, the Elon Musk, the Mark Zuckerbergs, everybody over there in the WEF, the Klaus Schwabs, his right-hand man, that devil, what's his name, Noah Harari, that are pretty much saying we're going to be the new God, the new Most High up on the planet Earth, that the Most High is dead, that he's no longer required, and that we're going to be the new controllers of this planet Earth by the way of AI, by the way of using technology to enhance the human body, what you would call a cyborg, putting a robot leg or those micro, the Neuralink, from Elon Musk, that is going to allow a person who was paralyzed to be able to walk again, which this is what he's going to do to deceive the nations into taking that RFID microchip, which is the MOTB. But also, the main reason is going to be, if you don't take that MOTB, which is the RFID microchip, that you won't be able to buy and sell. And really, this is what it's all about. Complete control of the monetary system. Every dollar that is spent is tracked. Cash is pretty much done away with. And we already see this going on in these other countries, in the UK, in China. China, you got what you know as a social credit score, where in China you got what is known as a social credit score, which means if you don't do what the government tells you, then you get points deducted from your social credit score. Like in that TV show, that Netflix series, Black Mirror, all these different tactics that Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, is about to use up on the planet Earth, and that he's been implemented gradually. You no longer really have to have cash with you, and even your credit card, you can have your smartwatch, you can have your smartphone, and you could use it to buy and even sell. A lot of people, they don't use cash no more. They use Zelle, Cash App, PayPal, because this world is already heading towards a full digital system where physical currency, the dollars, gold and silver, that's all about to be done away with. But we know why Esau, Edom, is not letting the war over there in Iran die down, because if that war keeps going on, it's going to lead to societal collapse, to energy crisis, to all hell breaking loose, famine. But this is what's right around the corner, because Esau, Edom, like it says right here, Revelation 12 and verse 12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. So the only ones who are rejoicing, the ones that are dwelling in the heavens, ultimately going into the realm of the elect. The elect know that to be able to get delivered, all hell has to break loose. Babylon has to fall, Rome has to collapse, and that's already happening. But it really has to get bad, like shit hitting the fan, and that's right around the corner because Esau Edom, he know that he has to get his NWO, his New World Order system up and running. It's going to be spearheaded by that digital system, by the CBDCs, where if you don't have a digital ID, if you don't have that RFID microchip on your forehead or in your hand, then you can't participate in society. And that's why Esau Edom is doing what he's doing. He's moving tacky. What he's the move that he's making up on the planet Earth, they're not making sense because he's out of wisdom. Like it says, is wisdom no more intimate? Esau Edom, he thinks that his plan is going to go accordingly as he planned, but really is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's plan. He's putting it upon the spirit of this devil to move so he could get him up out of that rulership position, out of that king, because his kingdom has to fall before the kingdom of heaven gets established upon the planet Earth. That's why he's doing what he's doing with the Stern. He's trying to buy some extra time, but he's out of time. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has set his bounds that he cannot pass, like it says in the book of Job. That's why he's about to bring a new 9 to the 1-1, the 2001 event. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan, which is no other than the self-proclaimed white man, which is Esau Edom in the scriptures. That's his biblical identity. He's not going to get an advantage over the remnant, the elect of the nation of Israel, which comprises of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because majority of the people up on the planet Earth, they don't see what's happening. They don't see that the Strait of Hormuz being closed, that Russia no longer exporting gas, along with these other countries running out of fuel. They don't know that that's leading to a societal collapse because these people, especially here in America, they're docile as all hell. They're in that eating, drinking, giving into marriage spirit. That's why when all these things get implemented, when these new digital measures, when this digital prison gets up and running, these people are going to get hit off guard. They're going to get taken by Satan devices, by the RFID microchip, by the MOTB. But the remnant, the elect, they've been watching out. They've been on that watchtower, first and foremost with the prophets, blowing that trumpet to the sheep, to the congregation. And the sheep, the 1/3, the believers of Yahweh Shai, they're taking heed to the warning of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai being spoken by his servants, the prophets. So they're aware of these things. And ultimately, it's going to be the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that's going to come into the remnant and to the elect to not take that RFID microchip. This is Psalms 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So this is how the self-proclaimed white man, Esau Edom, deceives the masses of these people. That's how he, DJ Trump, Nero 47, the current president of the U.S., that's how he got all these voters, all these MAGAs, by telling them, I'm going to bring down gas to the lowest it's ever been. I'm going to create more jobs. I'm not going to go to war. I'm going to bring back the troops. I'm going to bring down inflation. All these lies that these people ate up and believed. And especially our people. Our people love listening to this devil. They love listening to him lie because they're in that spirit of preach unto us smooth words. Don't tell us that the economy is going to get bad. Don't tell us that there's going to be a war. But that's the same tactic that this devil's going to use when all hell has broken loose. He's going to offer that solution. He's going to offer that RFID microchip, which is the MOTB. He's going to tell these people, man, if you take this, I'm going to give you a universal basic income on a monthly basis. I'm going to give you these incentives and these perks. You're going to be able to travel again. You're going to be able to go to the club and pop bottles like Jake is used to. You're going to be able to watch the NFL game. You know, this is what Esau Edom is going to tell these people. And first and foremost, he's going to allow these people to eat again, because that's how a lot of people are going to fold. They're going to fold when their stomach has touched their back, when they haven't eaten days. And that's the ultimate tactic that this devil is going to use, because Esau Edom, he knows how to hit people where it hurts. And it's going to hurt when he takes the bread and circus away. This is 2 Ezra 15 and verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And this is already brewing up with the airports shutting down because they don't have enough fuel. They don't have enough TSA workers. They don't have enough staffing. This is all leading to the collapse of the transportation system. Not just the airplanes, but also the buses. And that's when the energy crisis, the energy shutdown, where you have to reserve the fuel, is going to come into play. Because if Esau Edom implements an energy reserve plan, or you can't travel here, you can't travel there, you can't start your car up on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, you can only drive on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can't drive on the weekends. If you got to go to the store, you got to walk. This is the times that is brewing up, but it's going to get worse. When all hell has broken loose, Esau Edom is going to implement those checkpoints. He's going to implement those military checkpoints to the point where if you don't have that MOTB, that RFID microchip, then you won't be able to enter into a city. You won't be able to come in freely, in and out like people are used to, just driving through the state lines, driving through these different borders of these countries, Mexico to U.S., the U.S. to Mexico. That's all about to be done away with very soon. Just like in a 2020, if you didn't have that C-19 jump shot pass, you weren't able to travel on the airplanes. You weren't able to get on because you didn't have proof that you took it, that you took the jump shot for the C-19. And it's going to be the same thing again. If you don't have that RFID micro C-HIP, which is an MOTB, you won't be able to enter into a city or leave. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 8. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And now the whole world is finding out who the problem of the earth is. First and foremost, Amalek, the tiny caps, the 48ers, the imposters in the Holy Land, that are proclaiming to be the true chosen people of the scriptures, but we know they're not. And then the rest of the Edomite race, the self-proclaimed white people. Now the world's starting to see, man, these are the problem of the earth. This is why the earth is jacked up. This is why there's inflation and there's missiles being dropped in all these different countries. You can't blame that on Pookie and Ray Ray. You can't blame that on Jose and Hector, because these Edomites, they've been doing that. They've been blaming the problems on Jake. Oh, it's Jake. But it ain't Jake, causing deforestation. It ain't Jake going into these other countries and taking over their oil, kidnapping their leaders and dropping bombs on their leadership. It ain't Jake that was it was Jake on a E to the Steam files, but who was in charge of it? Esau Edom. He's the problem of the earth. That's why the world is jacked up. That's why the earth is mourning, like it says in Proverbs 29 and verse 2. Because the righteous are not in authority, but the righteous are about to get in authority. But first, this devil had to get exposed, and now he's been exposed, and the cat is out the bag. That's why he's about to shut this thing down, because he's been consumed by the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, it's biting him in the back. It's like, oh shit. He can't hide no more under that title white. He can't hide no more under Caucasian and JEW, because the world knows who this devil really is. He's a deceiver. He's just talking about destroying, because that's the spirit of Esau Edom. He was blessed with the sword. That's why his only solution is to come down with that sword. That's what they're telling the Iran. They're just going to blow that thing up. Verse 9, even him who's coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And he deceived the world to believe that they were really, the Most High and then the Israelites. But the whole world knows that that's not the truth. This devil's been exposed. But now that he's been exposed, he's going to put that full squeeze on these people. He don't care that they know that he's a devil. He's going to really show them, okay, y'all know that I'm the devil. I'm about to show you how much of a devil I really am by taking your food away, taking your water away, taking your electricity away. That's what he's about to do. But also he's going to be the same devil and deceive the people. Okay, I'm going to give you the stuff that I took away back, but you got to take this RFID micro CHIP. You got to take this MOTB. Verse 10, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So the 2/3 of our people, they don't want to hear that the white man is the devil. They don't want to hear that Esau Edom can't make it into the kingdom. They don't want to hear that this place, America, Babylon the Great, this current world is about to be done away with. Jake wants to hear that Babylon's going to be healed, that America's going to be healed, that they're going to get another stimulus check, that they're going to bounce back and the gas is going to go back to $1.50 like pre-2020. No, those days are done away with. But that's why majority of our people, they weren't meant to get this truth. They weren't meant to accept that Esau Edom is the devil and he doesn't have their best interests. But like it says, never trust thine enemy. Majority of our people, they love trusting the enemy. And this is why it's going to lead them to take that RFID micro CHIP, that MOTB. Verse 11, and for this cause, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai shall send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie, believing what Esau Edom tells them, believing that America has another 500 years, that it's going to bounce back. These maggers got duped, talking about, America's at its golden age. It's going to bounce back. We're going to make America great again. And then a lot of our people believe that too. And now they're about to believe this devil for a final time into taking that RFID microchip. Verse 12, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Yeah, they rather be a part of this world. They don't want to depart and arise, because they want to make their rest, because it allows them to be wicked. But Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is about to put a stop to that. He's about to put a stop to these wicked 2/3 Israelites. He's about to put a stop to Esau Edom. This is Revelation 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Yeah, this is the time that is right around the corner. Before America gets destroyed by thermonuclear fire, before World War III goes nuclear, this prophecy has to happen first. The mass implementation of the RFID microchip, which is the MOTB. That's what the MOTB is. The mark, the charagma. And it's going to come upon the whole world. That's why it says he causeth all, both small and great. It's not going to be he's only going to implement it here and that other country. No, he's going to tie it all to his digital system, where you're going to have that RFID microchip to be able to participate in society. Like it says right here, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark or the name of his beast or the number of his name. The mark of the beast, Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. That's what he's going to push upon the world, to form a covenant and an allegiance with the devil, the self-proclaimed white man, Esau, Edom. Because, okay, you want to be a part of this new system, this NWO, then you're going to have to take this RFID microchip, which majority of the world is going to take, except for the elect. The elect are going to be kept from these things because ultimately Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua predestined them from the foundations of the earth to not take it. That's what it's going to take to not take the MOTB. Is going to be the spirit of the Lord, put upon you to refuse that thing, regardless if you have to, lay your life down or if you endure to the end. This is Revelation 3 and verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. And that word world, that's going into oikoumene in the Greek, not cosmos. No, oikoumene, meaning the entire planet Earth. Not it's only going to go to this country. It's not coming to that country. No, it's coming up on the whole world. It ain't going to be it's only going to be in China and not come and this part of the world. Let's see. Make sure I got it right. Kanye, that word world in the oikoumene, Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10, it says, Strong's G 3625, oikoumene says the inhabited earth, the Roman Empire, all the subjects of the empire, the whole inhabited earth, the inhabitants of the earth. So it's going to come upon the whole entire planet. But Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is going to keep his remnant. He's going to put the spirit upon the remnant, the elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3 to not take it. This is Job 20 and 23. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, he is going to RFID microchip a lot of people. Especially here in America, where 2/3 of our people are prophesied to be destroyed by those intercontinental ballistic missiles. So a lot of people are going to take it. It is going to look like Esau won. Like, okay, I got everybody, took the MOTB, I'm chilling. Everybody's under my grip. Everybody's under my control. Who's going to take me down? That's the spirit that this devil is going to be in. But like you just said, when he's about to fill his belly, when he's about to finally enjoy his meal and kick his feet up, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is going to bring this devil down. He's going to send Yahweh Shai back to bring him down, to destroy the troops over there in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, and to destroy America by the way of those intercontinental ballistic missiles, and then deliver his remnant, deliver his elect, the 144,000, the 1/3 here in America, and the large multitude. That's what's knocking at the door. But first, this digital reset does have to come. This new digital system does have to get up and running. But the infrastructure is already here, the data centers. All that's needed is that event where he's justified in bringing in that MOTB. But that's pretty much the point. I pray that this was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from Elder well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom.